Hey everybody, it's Jane. Hello, it's 11:20 in Connecticut. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jane from Chalk Mercantile and also Surface Anthology, and we're gonna finish up the Halloween plaque today. And this, if you watched me yesterday, is the finish I'm going for. So, you'll see, I'll explain the products that I use as I go along. I'd love it if you would follow me. If you feel like anybody might enjoy this, please feel free to sprinkle it about. All right, so here's my plaque. There's a bunch of steps, obviously, before this. I tea stained the paint. Hey, Sandy, good morning. We're going to finish this. We're going to bring it on home. But I tea stained, I decoupaged, I made these molds from the birds. I forgot what it's called. It's an IOD mold and air dry clay. Hey, Amanda. Good morning, Danielle. Thanks for joining me, you guys. We're going to finish this today. Come hell or high water. That's what's going to happen, right? Thank you, Danielle. Hey, Shannon. How's it going? She's got her leaves going. I have to look. I saw some little bits, little tips of leaves here in Connecticut starting to turn. I'm excited. It's only 70 today. I'm loving it. Now, I have to tell you, I just did this before we came on. I painted on some liquid patina onto my birds, and it does have a sheen. It definitely has a sheen to it. And in the end, if I don't like that, I can always go over my birds with, like Amy Howard at Home, matte sealer if I want to knock them down. But I think they might look good with the sheen. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, right? There's a lot of products that we can use. So the very first thing I have to do, because I'm going to be using the Fineline Crackle again by Pentart, the very first thing I have to do is get all my water-based products out of the way. Because once you put, thank you, Shannon, for sprinkling. Yay! Once I put the Crackle on, right, it's a two-step system, it has to be finished with a solvent-based product, wax. That's what it is for me. Oh, nice, Danielle. It's 70s in Pennsylvania, I bet. Pennsylvania in the fall is beautiful. We used to go to car rallies. I used to be into rallying, seeing all those cool cars going through the woods. And man, Pennsylvania is no kidding. They've got some forests there, right? Enjoy that, Danielle. All right, so, I debated a lot. I agonized. I'm just going to use the liquid patina that I'm going to put on wet first, and then put my dark and decrepit on it because I want to create this kind of aged, shadowy edge around my birds. So I thought I would do this in sections. I also have my sea sponge ready because I wanted to see what it would look like if I sponged on the dark and decrepit. I love it. Old and gray. I was telling my husband, old and gray, dark and decrepit. I'm like, it sounds like us. All right, let's put a little bit of this dark and decrepit in a dish and see what it looks like sponged on. I'm going to be using it, so I'll put some more in here. Just like that. I also have baby wipes because somebody shared with me that Lisa of Sassy, Sweet and Sassy, uses baby wipes to blend in her dark and decrepit. So I thought I'd give that a shot. First thing I'm going to do is just over on an edge here. I'm just going to dip this is a little sea sponge. If you don't have one in your toolbox, get them. They are the best. The best. I use them all the time for so many different things. All right, let's see. Actually, I can do that, right? Because I'm going to be using dark wax too. So let me go around And I really have to get this edge before I even start working on the top. And to avoid that 1980s sponged wall look, remember when I didn't have them, but people had ducks. Remember those geese or ducks that would be in a row and they would be like pastel colors, like a pastel blue and this really kind of mauvey, dusty pink, and they'd be like borders on people's walls. Okay, so I'm just going around knocking down the edge here, and then we'll just do some blending. All right. And this stuff, it dries. Oh, let's test out the baby wipe theory. It dries really, really, really fast. Let me grab a baby wipe. Oh, that does soften it. So yay, Lisa from Sweet and Sassy. Yeah, blue and ducks. That's it, Shannon. Sounds like us. Oh my God. I just remember, and it was always along the ceiling, right, you guys? And then there was a whole dish set that went with it. Ah, the 80s. All right. So I'm just kind of, as I do this, you see me kind of turning the sponge. And I don't want to do too much because the darker the base, the less you see the crackle. So I don't want to, you know, make that disappear. Now, if I were doing this on a piece of furniture, I don't know that I would do this technique on a piece of furniture because you would have to move really, really fast. Now, the question is, how am I going to do this around my birds, right? Well, let's first blend this out a little bit. So I'm rinsing out my sponge. Now I'm just going to go back, turning, turning, turning. And let me see if you can, no, once this is down, this stuff really, it really just sinks right into whatever you're working on. It's really, I think it's a stain, you guys. It's really acts like a stain. But the baby wipe, definitely, it's either the texture of the wipe itself or whatever's in the wipe really blends this out nicely. All right, so we're getting there, right? It's a very raw kind of frame right now. So now what I want to do is start to build up around the birds. But before I do that, because this is bothering me, let me get my sponge, my dark and decrepit, and I have to knock down that right on that side. And the technique is really about blending. Oh my God, I think every kitchen or bathroom had those ducks in the 80s. Yeah. Oh my God, Sandy, I remember. Ooh, Danielle, I just highlighted your fabulous. There we go. I don't know what I'm doing. I highlighted your comment. Danielle says, I think the dark and decrepit should sink into the cracks and make them more visible. Yeah. Yeah, I guess if, I could wipe it away fast enough, right? Amanda's saying we were given those blue duck burner covers and measuring. Yes, for a wedding gift in the early 90s. I got rid of them immediately. Amanda, my first husband and I got an entire set of dishes. And what I had just ordered was Port Marion. The Port Marion when it was still being made in England. So yeah, I guess it's very sweet farmhousey, but yeah, wasn't my thing, not my thing. All right, my idea here is to kind of put some, I need 2 brushes, put some liquid patina around the birds, and then tap in some dark and decrepit. I don't know if my brush, and I'm dipping into the jar. Don't do this because you will contaminate your stuff like I'm probably gonna do. Now the only issue, one of the only issues I have here is that this liquid patina does have a sheen. So if you're not gonna use other stuff on top of it like I'm going to do, and you want it to be matte, use something else. I think Big Top, you guys, right? Big Top is flat, matte. Okay, so I did that real fast. Let me grab some of the dark and decrepit and tap that in. So I'm just tapping around the bird. Just to get a little dimension here, a little bit of depth. When did furniture painting, when did we all become like illustrators, right? I'm creating like a picture. It's interesting, right? Maybe it's because when we started doing lives and stuff, we needed to do smaller things. So there I am going around the bird. I just need to knock down that white around the bird. And I like this technique of using these 2 products like this. Because I don't like that edge that you can get. Okay, so there's one, right? And let me bring my camera in closer because I know you guys are going to want to reproduce this technique. I'm being sarcastic, but I'm making the dark and decrepit work for me in a way that I want. Less like a stain, more like a paint. Okay, now we go over again to some liquid patina, crystal clear, chandelier, and I'm just working around my little guy up here. This is like painting class. All right, and then I'm going to grab the dark and decrepit and work that in. And where it gets too brushy like that, right? I'm just coming back with that baby wipe and dabbing it out. Move it into the design a little bit so it kind of relates. All right. So it's getting gloomy. I want something gloomy, right? This is Halloween. All right. And I'm definitely not liking how kind of framey this is, but remember, it's still in that raw beginning stage. You guys are like, Jane, it's been in a beginning stage for a week. You can imagine when I was in art school, and now my son, one of my sons, Christopher, graduated from art school. Everything's digital, right? We were doing oil paintings, and some of us, a painting could take a month. And now everything's super, super fast. And again, I'm just putting the patina down, the crystal clear, just to have something to work the dark and decrepit into. My dogs are very active. Thanks for all your orders, you guys. I just had the mailman come and pick stuff up. So the dogs went crazy. And a nice thing about these products is as I'm blending it in and as it mixes with the liquid patina, it lightens up. So you can definitely, like I did yesterday, mix the two together and get varying intensities of the dark and decrepit. Okay. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to dry this. Cover up before you dry. Put your brushes in water. Where did my lid go? Do you guys use, and I think I asked this yesterday, do you use the dark and decrepit for anything besides staining? I saw somebody, because I was, kind of researching it, and they used it for a stencil, and I think it was in maybe the DIY group, or, you know what, I think it was in the DIY stockist group. And she used it as a stencil, and it looked beautiful. She used the dark and decrepit. Oh, I just knocked off part of my bird wing. Now, let me tell you, when you're using paper clay, and you re-wet it, it's wet again, right? It could be very, very vulnerable to, it's delicate. All right. You know what movie really, there's a lot of movie like Weekend at Bernie's. Remember Weekend at Bernie's? That's like so super 80s, early 90s. Christmas Vacation. What is her name? Julie Louis-Dreyfus's, she was the neighbor. Oh, that house. So 80s or 90s. I think it's 80s. All right, time to do Crackle. Now, I brought out a bigger brush. We're going to need a bigger brush, just like Jaws. Oh, so Shannon didn't even know you could use it for staining. You would use it for detail. Yep. Oh, yeah, those movies. Oh, Christmas does not exist for me until I watch Christmas Vacation. And, of course, A Christmas Story. I love those movies. I really, really do. And Rare Exports or Rare Imports. I think it's a Norwegian film. I have so many I love. All right, this stuff is gluey, and I'm just laying it on. Here we go. I'd love to know if anybody has ever thinned out this first part, because it is seriously thick. We're making a real mess. with this big brush. But again, I think what I'm going to do if I don't like these shiny, I'm just going to go over them with some matte sealer. I'm not going to go around the edge, just in the interest of time, but you might want to do that for something like this. All right, let's get over here. I use DD to really scrub into the cracks and on the crack. Okay, so, but here's the thing, Sandy. It's with the Crackle product I'm using, it has to be finished with a solvent-based product. So I didn't think I could do that, right, you guys? That's the problem. Well, not really a problem, but that's like, you know, I'll use a smaller brush in here. Not that you need a Crackle, you know, on the inside of his wings there, but that was my understanding, is that you have to have an oil-based product, solvent-based product. So I know when I use the Polyvine, I could use anything. Who knows? All right, I am using heat. Oh, you then seal. Okay, so what Sandy is saying, you guys, is that after you do, let me get this right, after you do the Crackle product, right, the step 1 and step 2, you use the dark and Decrepit to go into the cracks, and then you seal it with wax. So it's okay to have that water base over the Crackle as long as you finish it. So that is interesting. We're almost there. I'm gonna push this and just put on the top now. So I grabbed a bigger brush, a new one. I love opening a new brush. One of my little Authentico brushes that has a weird little divot. So here's the second part. I don't know if this is the best brush, but I didn't wash out all my artist brushes really well last night. They're all sitting in water. All right, so here's the second part. Let me cool this off. Oh, that was your mom? Shannon's saying, I think my mom is watching. Hey, Mom. I'm excited she's figured it out. Yeah. Oh, figured out how to watch, maybe. Or maybe she knows the dark and decrepit secrets, right? Okay. So now I'm going to put on the second component. I'm sort of just, doing every other, direction here, moving it around. Some people, I was just on a call with my buddies, Joni from Weathered Wings, Tammy from Flippin' Furniture, and Kim from For the Nest. And, everybody has their way of working with this. But they all kind of agreed that how thickly or thinly you apply this coat affects the look of the cracks. And I'm sure you guys said that yesterday too. I have a blob there. All right, put that in some water. And I can't wait to get wax on this. How to watch, yep. Yeah, sometimes it's hard, absolutely. I was trying to watch something yesterday on my phone from one of my stockist groups about a product. And Shannon, I kept pausing it. And I was just like, oh my God. So good for Shannon's mom. I used this yesterday on that tray I made, and I'm going to show you in a minute what happens. And have any of you used the Polyvine version of this to compare? This is going to be interesting. So I've got cracking that basically followed my brush strokes. And it's interesting because this stuff, and it's not a flaw in the product, it's user error, because I'm used to a certain product and working with a certain product a certain way. And this is a different kind of a product, and that is that. I see the cracks. It's like a whirlwind of brush strokes. You'd like to try, yeah, Shannon. The Polyvine is just And I've only used this one so far. This is the Fineline Crackle. I haven't used the other one, which I intend on using. I don't have my matte sealer over here. All right, let me cool it off. I don't want to put dark wax on a hot surface. Okay, so I'm going to use wax like I did with the piece that I worked on during yesterday's live, right? That's the look I'm going for here. So I'm going to grab my wax, and I think I'm going to use straight black wax. So where's that? I'm going through so many tongue depressors. So let me grab my black wax. And a little natural bristle brush. And let's see what happens. I'm going to wipe away from this corner and let's see how it looks. Well, you can really see the cracks. Now, what I wanted, right, so you see the cracks. What I wanted to experiment with real fast is if I can lift, like if you ever, I don't have a slip coat, and you guys know I love my slip coat, but if I use a slip coat in the Crackle, I'm not going to see the dark wax in the cracks. Oh, thank you. No, the waxing is not hiding the shininess. Sandy's saying the Polyvine seems pricey. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was really, really nice. And I'm not putting down this one. I need to learn it more, Sandy. The Polyvine was just amazing. All right, I'm going to take some clear wax and see if I can lift some of the wax. Yep. And then the wax still, the dark wax still stays in the cracks here, right? So I'm gonna put wax over this whole thing, and we'll see. Now, when you use the Crackle paste, it is not transparent, right, Shannon? It's opaque. And you can't, and it's really for paint, because you can't, you wouldn't be able to work an image into that. Am I correct? And you gotta get under. Okay, I need more black wax. This is really drinking up the black wax for sure. But am I getting the amount of crackle you would expect from this? Or is it just me in the way I'm using it? Like, is this the amount? Here's the example I did yesterday. Is that what we're basically all getting? Like that kind of crackle? Let me know in the comments. All right, I'm just going to go around my mold. You got to get underneath or it's just not going to look right at all. Like if there's any air space there, any little edge. And of course around the edge, blend in that dark and decrepit with black wax. All right, and now I'm going to wipe away. Oh, I think it looks really cool. The only thing I'm really curious to see is how the birds look shiny with all of this. Okay, Sandy's saying, yep, so that's it. So that's the crackle that you get with that product. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's a fine crackle, right? It's really lovely. Okay. So now what I want to do, just in a few areas, is pop up some of that dark wax. Kind of lift it up where I want to highlight. And I'm just dipping my paper towel into some clear wax. And what I'm doing is I'm removing the top dark wax, but the dark wax is sitting in those little cracks from the crackle. And of course, another layer I can add here if I want to, and I might do it off camera, because I don't want to torture you guys by coming back, is, how cool is that? I really like it. It's just what I was looking for. This kind of really dark and gloomy, you know, the birds coming in. You could still see where it says family morning down there. But another layer to add here, and I've done multi-layered wax finishes with colored waxes when I used to do custom work, because you can layer them, but you have to do it very gingerly, because when you add wax on top of wax, you reactivate the wax underneath, right? So I could do another layer of wax, but I can add dust of ages now. So the dust that Amy Howard has, or other companies that have it, and go in with the dust, and that goes into all those where everything is waxed, and it looks really cool. So that's another thing to do. I'm just kind of going around to accent, right? You could see I'm lifting some of the wax off the white there. Oh, thank you. Hi, Lindsay. That's definitely the Fineline. Okay. So I applied it correctly. That's just how it is. Now, for you guys, you know, with the wax, I can keep on, here's a, you know, I just always use a natural bristle brush, but I can keep kind of tweaking this and adding, you know, wax and kind of pouncing it out and making a really beautiful finish with it, kind of an airbrushed finish. You see what I'm doing, and it's working, but it's refining. It's kind of like applying makeup, and when I did makeup, makeup is all about blending. It's all about getting the right colors for somebody, but then it's all about blending. It really is. And if you sit here and mess around with this, while you've got a lot of open time with wax, you guys know I love wax, and you can just keep on refining that little edge you have going around the birds, our gloomy birds. I watched a Russell Crowe movie last night. I love scary movies, especially around Halloween. And it was some exorcism movie. And it just, he's such a good actor, but the writing just wasn't so great. So I was basically researching Dark and Decrepit and stuff on my computer while I was sort of watching it. But yeah, you can really play with the wax. It's so much fun. So there it is. There's my dark and gloomy Halloween. It's really different from where I started, for sure. And I used the Tim Holtz Halloween paper, which I love. This kind of created its own little black frame, right? You could work gold leaf into this. It would look amazing, kind of like I did here yesterday. I could have put gold leaf all around the edge, right? It's too late now. The size is not going to like that wax, but you can work something like that in. You could do a little line right around like this. The possibilities are endless. Yep, Lindsay's saying, yeah, Dust of Ages would look really cool. Absolutely. And I can still do that. What I'm concerned about, and these got hit with wax, but you know, they're shiny. What do you guys think of the shiny birds? Maybe those are, I don't know. Maybe too much matte is too much matte, right? But I was thinking I could put the Amy Howard at Home matte sealer on these, or the DIY top coat, and see if I can knock them down, because they are shiny. But maybe I like them. I have to see them down, you know, on a shelf and see if I like how these look. Yes, Sandy, that's such a great comment that you're making. So what Sandy's saying is she loves heating the bottom layer of wax and blending a new color of wax on top of that, right, Sandy? When I used to have my shop down in Old Saybrook here in Connecticut, I had a woman who was an incredible furniture painter who would make these finishes. Like, she would put a piece out and it would sell in 5 minutes, and her prices were not cheap, and they shouldn't have been because the amount of work she put in them. She would take her wax finishes. She used lime paint, L-I-M-E also, but she would put her pieces out in the hot sun and then manipulate waxes that way. Shannon, oh, thank you. You like it either way. Thank you. Thanks so much, Shannon. Yeah, isn't that a cool idea? I don't have the black velvet powder. I was looking at that, right? That's DIY. Is that the pigments? Because I could put something like that in too. I do have some black pigment though. But anyway, heating, you know, there's so many things that go into this. Like Sandy said, right? Yes, Sandy, heating waxes you can really get some very, very cool finishes. And I'm so glad you brought that up. And then when they start to, you can get your waxes dripping and stuff. I mean, you can do some cool stuff. And then of course they solidify, they cure, and it looks really, oh, it's Pentart. Oh yeah. Well, I placed a Pentart order this morning. That's where I saw it. And they have all those pigment powders, right? It's a pigment powder. It's not like the Dust of Ages. Maybe that, well, that's where I saw it. I had like 5 minutes to do it and I just placed an order. And I'm like, but I will check that out too, for sure. There's so many possibilities. But that's it, you guys. I am going to, I wanted to show you what happened with the tray. So remember I showed you guys this tray I made, right? So I decided to use the cracking system here, and I did, right? And I put the black wax on top of it. And it's subtle, but there's my wrinkles on that one side. It's subtle, but it just adds this other layer to how these look, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. It's super, super cool. The thing is, like Shannon said, this is shiny. It's very shiny. If anybody has a way that they knock down the shine, let me know. And this is after it's waxed. I did not buff it, so let me know. I bet that lady's work is gorgeous. Okay, wait, who are we talking about? Because I want to go check it out. Oh. Sandy, it's the powder that gives a velvet look finish. All right, I'm going to go check that out, you guys, when I get off of here. So it's the Pentart Velvet Powder. Black velvet powder, right? So I will go check that out. Because a velvet look would be really neat. That sounds like flocking. All right. And that's Pentart, right, Sandy? It's got to be, because that's what we've been talking about. All right, you guys. This is it. This is my little Halloween project. And next, of course, we have to move on to, what are we moving on to already? Thanksgiving, pumpkins, fall, harvest, right? We're definitely getting hints of fall here in Connecticut for sure. So this would be a very, very neat technique for something like that, but I would lighten up all of this, coloring so it's not so doomy and gloomy. I do love it with the yellow though, like the yellow of this transfer, which by the way, I got. It's the Botanist Journal, remember, in the tubes, you guys? Oh, so glad they came out with the pads. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I will see you. I probably won't see you till the end of the week for a new project that will begin because I have my grandson tomorrow. But anyway, I'll see you soon. Hopefully Thursday or Friday morning. Okay, you guys? The lady, Sandy, yes. Her name is Lisa. She's no longer doing it. And you know what she used to do? And she's so super talented. She worked with a builder who made very high-end antique house reproductions. And when I tell you, everything was real copper, real lead on the, everything. She would style, she would design the kitchens, the stains, the paint colors, and she was just amazing. She was absolutely amazing. And she lives in an antique house, and it's wonderful. Oh, Lindsay, you're right above me. I'm in Connecticut. Isn't it beautiful? I'm going to take my dogs out now for a little walk. Thanks for watching. I'll post some pictures of these things, and hope to see you guys on Friday morning. Enjoy the day, you guys. Get in some creative time, and happy painting, everybody. I'll see you soon. Oh, wait, one more thing. Pentart, make sure you get the Pentart tacky glue for the